Welcome to this week's GCN Tech Clinic. This week you have Si and I, where we're going to go through your burning tech questions and answer them as best we can within the allotted time.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to this. Right, first question comes in from DH7314. I've recently converted to tubeless, and after today's ride, I left my bike out in the sun. Note, I live in the UK, and it was only 20 degrees. The rear wheel exploded. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Upon inspection, the tyre was still seated, and the air had come out the pressure release hole in the rim. So it's basically the rim tape ruptured. They're a little bit concerned that maybe it was due to temperature. If so, do they need to keep their bike in the cold forever, i.e. just here in the UK?
The first thing I want to pick up on is that little hole in the side of the valve is not designed as a pressure release valve. It's mostly there to drain water out of the rim.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me that if the air has managed to get into that main rim cavity, it sounds like you got a problem with the rim tape, basically. And I would take everything apart, clean it up, put some new rim tape on there, and then check your tyre bead very carefully, because if it has like burst off as well and really stretched the bead, it could be damaged. And then put it back together how it should go and check everything's all right.
Yeah, I've had it a couple of times actually where the rim tape has burst, and it was quite a shock because I was like, oh my God, what's just happened? I think my rim's just cracked, because it made a horrible noise, a cracking carbon, but it was literally just the rim tape ruptured. So yeah, put some different rim tape on, maybe a couple of layers to stop it happening again.
One thing I would quickly add is double check whether your wheels are hookless or not, because if you have got hookless and you didn't know you had it, you might be pumping your tyres up too high. So stick to that 72 PSI pressure limit.
That's right, yeah. Okay, next up.
Next up is from Brian. He says, what do you do with all the dirty rags after cleaning your bike? Wash them, reuse them, toss them? Do you do something different with rags to degrease it or drivetrains versus rags with soap and grime? Well, basically, really greasy, horrible rags I tend to just chuck away once they've got to like the point of no return.
Yeah.
And otherwise, generally, ones that are just a bit dirty, I save them up and put them all in the washing machine in one go.
Put them in your washing machine?
Yeah,
but
don't
you
tell
also
Chloe.
put like your bed sheets?
Don't tell Chloe that, she'll tell me off.
Yeah,
Well, not if they're like real horrid and grimy, no. But if they've just wiped down like a bit of a muddy or dusty bike and they're not too bad. I don't really get oily chains anymore because I wax my chain all the time.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, I tend to bin them, but I would only use like old rags, and therefore like, you know.
Don't feel too bad.
No, I'm not like buying bespoke rags to clean my bike with.
They would exist in the bike industry.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. In fact, there's a business idea there.
Bespoke rags.
Premium rags. Right, we got...
Jonah,
you think that's it? Or Johanna?
Yeah.
Anyway, hi from Sweden, Johanna. I bought a Haymax Outback trailer so I can take my toddler with me on bike rides. That is super cool. So far, I've only been using the trailer on my normal city bike, but I'd like to use it on my carbon road bike with through axle as well. Is it safe to drag the trailer on my road bike? Do you need a special through axle? Now, you have trailer knowledge.
I do have trailer knowledge. Yes, you do need to have a special through axle that is from the manufacturer of the trailer to make sure they're all compatible. You then need to make sure the through axle is the correct length, the correct diameter and the correct thread pitch to be compatible with your frame. Now, I carried a trailer on my carbon gravel bike, no stress whatsoever. Things you need to be mindful of, making sure you don't exceed the weight limit of the bike, which is going to differ from different bike brands. And I'd probably avoid using like a super lightweight carbon bike to do this. This is where maybe steel, aluminium, titanium frames or gravel bike comes into their own.
Most of the weight of your child is going to go through the trailer axle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then actually it's accelerating, decelerating that will go through the through axle. So it kind of shouldn't really load up the frame too much.
It shouldn't be too bad.
But I probably would check with the manufacturer of your bike rather than your local bike shop. Go direct, just to see if it's going to avoid the warranty, because you never know. Manufacturers can be a bit funny about stuff.
Safety first is what I say.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Paul next, he says, I recently bought a new Shimano 10-speed chain and it arrived without a quick link or the rivet in the sealed packet to join it up. A, what were they thinking? And B, rivet or quick link, is one more reliable than the other? Well, this sounds like just a bit of an error because chains do come with that stuff included.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Shimano only started using quick links recently, so I don't think you can get a quick link on a 10-speed Shimano chain. As in, like, you can put them on there, but Shimano didn't send them out.
They didn't supply them out. No, I think either one is as reliable as the other, but what I tend to do is use a quick link. It's a lot easier when it comes to installing the chain, and it means you can take the chain on and off without having to buy like a new rivet pin. And you can reuse them a couple of times. Some are just single use, but you can get ones that are multi-use.
I hate those rivet pins as well.
Yeah, they are.
They're fine, they work, right?
They work, yeah.
But they're really annoying. Jim Jordan said, I'm currently in the market for a new bicycle, a Time ADHX, which will be used 95% on paved road and the occasional light gravel ride. I'm dealing with a reputable local bike shop who've asked if I would consider a one-by setup with either a 40E or 42 front and a 1044 rear SRAM force access. So yeah, thoughts?
What would we do? Well, on a split of, say, 95 to 5%, I would hands down go a 2x setup. I think, whilst I do love the sort of feeling and the use of 1x, I think in this application, 2x perhaps more suitable.
Yeah, I absolutely love 1x, but I've got to agree with Alex in this case.
Yeah.
I would go 2x. And especially if you're going for the new SRAM Force, that looks so cool anyway in a 2x setup. It's absolutely mint. I love it.
In this instance, for me to want to go commit to a 1x, I would want it to be at least 50-50 split, nudging towards a bit more gravel, and then I would go 1x.
I think that 1044 cassette will annoy you on the road. I think the jumps are just a little bit too big. So yeah, 2x all the way. And there's not really much of a downside either to running 2x, is there?
Not really. It's worked for years.
It's worked for years.
Greg next says, whilst I love all the coverage of fancy pants new carbon bikes, is there a place in this world for a steel bike or a neo-retro conversion for the cafe rides? I'm not doing century rides, crits or time trials. 100% yes.
Yeah.
The first person that might like is the person who likes one of the trailer.
Oh, but there's something about like retro or like neo-retro. I really want to do like a neo-retro build of a Colnago C40. I know it's carbon, but you know, we're going back a little bit.
We can make space for you on GCN Tech to do
I
that.
know. I've been looking, mate, on eBay for a suitable frame. I've got the group set ready to go. But I haven't actually managed to part with the money yet.
Yeah,
so,
that's always the sticking point.
That is the sticking point, yeah. So,
steel is 100%. It's here. There's no reason for it to go anywhere else. Whilst carbon is great, it's not without its drawbacks in some ways, the same way as steel. Each different material's got its advantages and its sort of negative side as such.
Yeah. Basically. For anyone interested, I'm looking for not the Mapei paint job, because I feel like, you know, it's kind of like everyone's gone for Mapei.
Done and dusted.
The Lamprey one from the 90s, it's like a kind of purple and black fade.
Well, if anyone has one, let us know in the comments section now. We'll help Si out. Let's get this project underway.
Very cool, yeah.
On to our last question now, Si. Who's it from?
It is from Crapord?
Crapord.
Yeah. Anyway, hello there. Thank you for the good work from you both, Ollie and Albert. So there we go. I assume it means you.
Yeah.
Right, I'm getting a new bike, which is set up with a nice pair of NV 3.4 AR wheel set. Hookless. For now, on my current bike, I'm still using tubes. Haven't made the switch to tubeless. Can I use tubes on the MV 3.4 ARs on a daily basis? If yes, what max pressure should I not exceed? Alex?
Well, there's a lot of, not misinformation, but there's a lot of confusion about current wheels, tyres, rims, and all this sort of setup. So on this exact example, you're going to need to make sure to use a tyre which is hookless compatible. That's the first thing you need to make sure of.
And it's going to be a tubeless tyre.
It's going to be a tubeless tyre. Tube-type tyres for hookless. I don't think they exist.
They don't exist.
No. But good news is you can just put an inner tube inside it if you don't want to have the hassle of running tubeless with valves, sealant, and some of that sort of faff that goes with it.
Which is exactly what I did when I did the Inferno event down through the Alps. Much to your annoyance, I had a set of MV wheels on the moots that I rode that were hookless, but I did not want to run tubeless for an epic ride.
And so I did actually message you straight away once I saw in that video when you said about it.
Yeah, but my reasoning was legit. Like, I love tubeless, absolutely great, but that feeling of getting a flat that's not fixable in the middle of a 12-hour ride and being like drenched in sealant on a 35-degree day in the Alps, like, just wasn't worth it for me.
Well, that's fair enough, but if you do want to stick to inner tubes, you can run a latex inner tube or a TPU thermoplastic tube, neither of which are going to add a significant amount of weight, nor impacts the rolling resistance drastically. But make sure you stick to that 72 PSI pressure limit that is hookless.
I would also encourage you to try tubeless, because it feels mega, doesn't it? Like, it does feel better.
There you go.
So yeah, it is better.
Right, that's it. That was our last question of this week's Tech Clinic. Hope you found that helpful. As always, if we didn't get to your question, be persistent, keep commenting it, and you never know. Future weeks, we might get there. We're out of here. See you later.
If you've got a Conlager C40, let me know.